Okay, I'm back. I've only been gone stopped filming for about 20 minutes. So, as you can see on this side over here, it's folding in on itself. You know, and it's so funny. This side always takes longer. I don't know why. Just something with the heating element, I guess. But it's only gone about 30 minutes, long enough to clean up some of my soap making tools and to unload the memory card. Hopefully, I want to film the whole process so you can see it. And I'm hoping to figure out how to edit the film so I can fast forward through it so you don't have to hear the whole thing. I apologize. I had to do laundry today, so that's why I'm not in my soap making station. But also, quick note to new soap makers, always keep a notepad by you so that you can take notes of any changes, how long it took you, what you see, what you did. You know, I say that I use 2 tablespoons of castor oil. Well, today I've decided to measure how much 2 tablespoons is. That's 1 ounce. 2 tablespoons of castor oil equals exactly 1 ounce, and I use my method is 1 tablespoon per pound of soap, and I'm usually making 2 pounds unless I'm really I have a huge mold I use, but I only use that rarely if I know I'm going to be preparing for future craft shows. So that's what I do, and I'm using 2 tablespoons of clay per pound of oil, and I went ahead and mixed that in with my essential oil. And as I said before, the clay helps anchor the essential oil because essential oils fade over time. All natural things tend to fade. Certain ones last longer. Citrus ones tend to go faster. I don't use citrus unless a specific friend or family member asks. Only because I don't like to I don't like to sell any soaps I don't get to use a bar first from the batch, and I have bad reactions with citrus essential oil, so I don't use those. I like lavender, I like mint, they do last a little while. My cassia I'm still using. I made a bunch of soaps in the fall for a harvest. It's called a pumpkin festival that we have here in town every year. And I'm still using that soap, and that's been six months ago, and it still smells great, lathers great. You see how it's poofing up? It's just folding in on itself. I'm going to turn the temperature down. I don't want to cook it too fast. You want it to go through all the stages in a timely manner. Make sure it's on the right one. It's doing great. And I said I'm using 2 teaspoons per pound of oil, which after I measured it out, it was about it was a half of an ounce. So I did not measure how much the essential oils were, but that's 2 tablespoons per pound of oil. When you're talking about soap, when I say I'm making 2 pounds of soap, what I really mean is I use 2 pounds of oil. When you make soap, everything is measured out. I'm not using a measuring cup. I mean, I do use the measuring cup, but I weigh everything on a scale. I don't do 2 cups. I do 2 pounds. And I like to use distilled water and rainwater when I can get it. And I do have some rainwater. This isn't made with rainwater, but some previous batches I made was made with rainwater because we had so much rain last week. It's supposed to be spring, and it does not feel like spring. It feels like the cold, wet winter. That little, see how it's coloring? Can you see that? How it looks like a different color in the middle? That's glycerin pooling. Soap naturally, a natural byproduct of soap is glycerin. The commercial soaps you buy are technically not even soaps, they're detergent bars, but they take the glycerin out and then reuse it and try to sell a glycerin soap at a higher price. It's ridiculous. Really turn the temperature down a little bit more. It's pooping. See how it's pooping? You have to stay near your soap. You do not want it to overflow. I have had that happen. This has been cooking for about 40 minutes. I think that's about right. The first part is that I filmed was what, 15 minutes about. And then it took me about 15-20 minutes to do what I had to do, and that was 30. So yeah, about 40 minutes. I'm gonna stir it, see what phase it's in. There's different phases it goes through. Looks like mashed potatoes. See how that looks like mashed potatoes? That's exactly what it looks like. Looks like creamy white mashed potatoes. So that's what phase I'm in, and I want it to get to the point of where it looks like Vaseline. That means that the soap is ready and I can mold it. So it should not be very long now. Once it gets to that Vaseline phase, I will add the clay and the essential oil. Essential oils, or all fragrance oils really, they have a flash point and a point where it just evaporates off, the temperature at which they evaporate off. So you want it to be below that temperature so that your scents stay in the soap. So, I like to write how long it took my soaps to reach the point. So I'm going to say 40 minutes potato phase. You take notes so that you know what to expect. The recipe I'm using is just a basic olive oil coconut mix, and you just play around with the calculator and find out what your ratio you like. If you like the soap to be 75% olive oil, 25% coconut oil, whatever you like. And then I said I'm super fattened with castor oil, so. I like making hot process soaps, especially because I have a lot of orders to meet right now, and this hot process is a faster cure rate. Actually, you could use this as soon as it's cooled off and you cut, but I like to wait at least 2 weeks to make sure it's dried out and cured, and over time the pH level lowers, and soap gets better with age. It's just like cheese, so there's no rush in it. There's no need to rush using it. You have to be really patient to make soap. I've got my whisk ready. I've sanitized it. I've cleaned it off and sanitized it. My whole area's been wiped down with alcohol, so I know this is as germ-free as I can get it. did not water discount with this recipe. With my cold processed soaps, I tend to water discount a little bit, just to create a shorter drying time, not a shorter curing time, but drying time. With hot process, I find that if I try to water discount, it's easier for me to burn the soap and make it a very crumbly soap. This, my mint soap that I made, I showed this in a previous video. I keep a little stash of all of the soaps I've made near the sink so I can test them out and see how long they last and all of that stuff. This is also a hot process soap, so you can see even with hot process you can get very smooth soap. I like hot process tends to make the soap look a little more rustic. You can tell it's more homemade, and I like that look. I can still smell the mint from that soap. Matter of fact, I'm going to change my gloves because I want this to be this. I'm making this with lavender. I thought about doing tea tree. I'll have tea tree essential oil, and for some reason I just won't use it. I don't know why. I guess I'm afraid of it. Who knows? I don't think I'm gonna like it. That's why. Be right back. I'm gonna change my gloves. Okay, I changed my gloves because I've been using that soap that I picked up, and so I want to make sure I keep this as contaminated free as possible. Try not to contaminate my work area. You see how that's bubbling up? Can you see that? That's why you have to make sure you stay near the crock pot, because this could easily start overflowing, which I've said that before. I'm gonna just let it do its thing, try not to pick up the top too much unless I really want to show you the details, but it just folds in on itself, and I usually let it fold in twice, so this would be the second time it's folding in on itself. Some soaps don't get that far. I've had some soaps who just try to stay solid in the middle. I don't know why. Sometimes I get a little impatient. I'm like, come on, I'm ready to stick it in the mold and take it out and use it. This is a good time to talk about safety again. Do not make soap around pets or small children, or if you're not able to spend most of your time right by the soap. There's been a lot of people tripping over their animals, dropping things on their animals, and protect your little fur babies and yourself. You don't want to hurt yourself tripping over your animals and spilling some caustic soap on yourself. I took my little babies out for a walk, and they're in there sleeping, but they're in another room and I have a gate up, so they won't be coming near me while I'm operating my soap. Let's look at this again. Try to keep some of this moisture inside the soap. This is still very mashed potato-y. I like to scrape the sides so I don't get any hard bars. If you see the video of the cutting of my rustic mint soap, you'll see a little white speck or two that is not sprinkled with mint leaves. That's because the soap hardened up and I couldn't mix it in because my camera malfunctioned on me and I had to stop everything to fix that. I'm new to the whole filming thing, so hopefully I'll figure out how to fast forward through the slow part so you can just see the reaction and not just be sitting there for 20 minutes just looking at the soap. Put the top back on. I'm thinking this needs about another 5 to 10 minutes. I've turned the temperature down, so I'll be back.